New videos every day.
Hey, it's Rebecca, and today we're gonna learn how to do a backbend. So be sure to favorite this video, and let's go ahead and get started. We'll warm up for the backbend by doing a few different stretches and also working on some core strength. The first stretch here is just on our wrists. We want to make sure that they're nice and loose so that they're ready to be in that back bend position. Did you know that cheerleading has more injuries than the other 10 sports combined? Hopefully you don't know anyone who's been injured by cheerleading, but that's why it's so important to keep stretching like this. So we'll keep stretching our wrists. Another way to do this is to just pull your wrist back like this and kind of use the ground as an anchor or leverage. We're pushing into it. Just a nice, simple stretch for about 5 or 10 seconds. You can even switch that wrist over and kind of do it on the other side. So we'll keep on stretching our wrists, and now we'll go on to the left side. So I actually had an issue getting dropped on a cheerleading stunt one time, and I'm not sure if we just hadn't stretched enough to warm up, but my back spot hadn't caught me when I was coming out of a lib or a liberty stunt when I was the flyer in that pose. And so it's definitely important to stretch. Thankfully I wasn't injured, but as I'd mentioned earlier, cheerleading is a very popular sport for injuries. And so before practicing, it's very important to put safety first. You want to go ahead and post too if you've ever been injured or have any friends who have been and have any pointers or tips. We'd love to hear your comments. Let us know things that you think are important to avoid. I'm sure that stretching is definitely a great way or one of the most useful tips to avoid some of those common injuries. So before we get started today on our back bend, we've already warmed up our wrists, which are one of the most important parts of our body that we're going to be using here, as well as locking out our elbows. But before we get started and moving forward with that, let's go ahead and work on our core strength by stretching in a cobra position and also holding in a plank. So we'll move into our cobra position, which is more of a yoga pose, but it is a great stretch before going into our back bend. And here we are, legs are behind us. Our wrists, again, have been stretched and they're kind of pushing us forward. And we can breathe in and out as we hold this stretch. You can really feel it in your lower back, which is great because that's going to help us when we're back in our back bend. Now that we've stretched our lower back, let's go ahead and move on to our abs, where we can work on some core strength by doing this simple pose called a plank. We'll go forward, and you can hold your hands however is comfortable for you. I like to grasp mine like this. And we come up on our toes, and we are now in that plank position, which will really work those abs. We'll go ahead and hold that for about 30 seconds. You can kind of feel that in your upper arms and also in your abs and your core. If you get bored in this position, you could put your hand flat on the ground, go on the other side, and this will get your side obliques, which will all be used in your back bend. Holding for about 10 seconds. And now we come back to center. And if you like the last stretch, we'll go ahead on the other side. And again, that's getting our side oblique. We'll come back to center for 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now might be a nice time to go right back into the cobra stretch. Okay, we're back in our cobra position, And if you really go to the tops of your fingertips, you can feel it even in the top part of your abs. Let's go ahead and advance our core strength hold. Rather than grasping, this time we can put our straight out, which might even help with stretching that for the back bend. And we go back up to the plank, very similar to a push-up position. And go ahead and hold for about 10 to 20 seconds. And this hold is really going to help for that back bend. Now we're coming back down. And let's just stretch one more time in that cobra position. With the tops of our fingertips. Now that we've had a chance to warm up our wrists and also our core muscles and stretch those out for a little bit, we can move on to a few different workouts for our leg muscles to ensure that they're strong enough to hold in that back bend position. To begin our leg workout and before extending fully into our back bridge or back bend, let's go ahead and move onto our back in a laying down position where we can really work those leg muscles. We'll lay down like so and go ahead and bend the knees ever so slightly, with our feet about shoulder width apart. And we can go ahead and elevate our hips, which would be the same position as a back bend without using our wrists or shoulders. And we'll hold this position for about 5 or 10 seconds to ensure that we have our leg strength necessary for holding a back bend pose. And we'll come down. And this time you could move your feet slightly closer to your body so that you're going even higher this time when you're holding. And hold that for about 10, 5, 3, 2, 1. We're coming back down. Go back up and hold one more time. And this is the same position your legs will be in once your arms and shoulders and wrists are included in the back bend pose. About 5 more seconds. And we're just lifting our hips ever so slightly as they would be in a back bridge or back bend pose. Coming back down to center. So for the next part of this video, you're going to want to find a wall. We'll go ahead and improve our leg strength by doing one of my favorite leg holds, which is called a wall sit, or also known as a chair sit. Or maybe you have another name for it. So we'll go ahead into a 90-degree angle with our feet slightly in front of us here, about a foot width in front of our body. And we'll put our arms out right in front so that we're getting a nice muscle hold for our quad muscles, and we're really building on that strength. Which reminds me, and it's still shocking, how many people actually get hurt in cheerleading just by practicing. So it's really important to keep stretching and improving our muscles. And apparently there are about, for the other 10 sports combined, that cheerleading still has more injuries than all the other ones combined. So it's really important to be working on our muscles and make sure that we're not tearing anything and that we're well conditioned. So we'll hold this for about 30 seconds. And you can always do it a bit longer as you can feel the burn. Maybe even if holding it a minute longer would be helpful for you. So for all intensive purposes for this video, we're at 5 seconds left. So keep holding, you'll probably feel it hurting a bit right about now. And 3, 2, 1. We'll come back up to the wall. Let's go ahead and do another set of wall sits for about 30 more seconds. So again, we're bringing our legs out and holding for 30. And you could always, if you wanted to, go onto one leg so you can get a nice intense workout there for about 5 seconds. And bringing the other one back down. This is a great way to build up those leg muscles, which will be used when you do your back bend. Your hands can be at your side. They could also be out in front of you. We'll hold for 3, 2, 1, and back up. Okay, now that our legs are feeling a bit stronger, I want to show you a really useful trick for going into your back bend. I like to use the wall as a tool, and this is an interesting way for learning how to get into a back bend and holding it from a standing position. Now that our legs are feeling a bit stronger, let's go ahead and use the wall once again, but this time we'll use it as a tool to help us in learning how to do a back bend from a standing position. The wall is going to be used as a helpful tool in this way. We'll climb down using our fingertips and approaching it upward but moving downward so that we have a nice amount of control while we're going down toward the floor and into our back bend position. Let's begin. You're leaning back, looking toward the wall, and your hands catch. If you feel a bit close to the wall, you can always take a step out. To get up from this position, we use the wall once again. So now that you've seen me do this once before, let's go ahead and do it together, and this time slightly slower. So once again, you'll really want to tighten up your core muscles as you lean back and look toward the wall. Your chin is leaving your neck. You are all the way back and extended. And use this wall as a tool as you climb down and eventually meet the floor with your wrists. And you're really getting a nice feeling for what that pose, the back bend, will feel like. Get up and climb back using the wall again to assist as you return to standing position. Let's go ahead and put all of the pieces together and extend into our back bend. We'll lay flat on our back. Our hands go toward the ground and we lift up. If you feel comfortable in this position, you can even go up onto your toes. Notice that our arms and elbows are completely locked out rather than bent. To come out of this position, we'll bend down ever so slowly, slightly onto our neck, top of our back, lower back, and our legs can come down. I hope that this video tutorial was helpful in teaching you how to do a back bend. A back bend is essential when you're trying to learn a back walkover, and this strength and core hold will also be helpful when you're pulling stretches such as a scale, arabesque, or even a scorpion pose. A back bend will also help you in tumbling, which overall will help you learn tricks such as a back handspring. Be sure to favorite this video and keep tuned for ones that we'll be publishing in the future. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to this channel so that you can see all of my future cheerleading videos.